Okay, folks, Brodie Lee Tribute show. This is my response, my analysis. Really just going to say some positive things here about the show. This might have been the night that AEW came of age. And when I say that, I mean that, like a human being, wrestling promotion is maybe you don't know its worth until it's tested. And by tested, I don't mean, how many tickets they sold or how many pay-per-view buys or how do they negotiate a talent, although those are all different types of tests. I mean, how do they come together under grief, under sadness, under loss? And I think they came through with flying colors. In fact, I dare anyone to point out how another promotion, either in the United States or Japan or anywhere, ever did a presentation in honor of a fallen comrade, a fallen pro wrestler, better than this company honored Brodie Lee tonight. John, also known as Luke Harper, and you tell me. I mean, leave a comment if you want, but I think they did a great job. I was under the impression, and it doesn't really matter if it's splitting hairs here, that -1, Brodie Lee Jr., the son, the 8-year-old son, and shout out to his even younger brother, the younger brother there, because obviously he's so young, you feel bad for these kids, but even worse, I think, for the 3-year-old son. Horrible that these young guys are growing up without a father, but kudos to their mom, and kudos to the company that's doing their best to support these people in their time of grieving and loss and so forth. I mean, it's community, and it's nice to see that this wrestling promotion is rallying around a fallen wrestler. I was just listening to a little bit of Grilling JR, and he was caught off guard by this sudden death. And we don't know the details. We don't need to know the details. It's really a personal family medical situation that I respect. I have no need to know more details of than the family is comfortable releasing. So hopefully, and maybe that's something to think about. There was that, controversy. I don't want to dwell on it, but the reporter that lost his job, just kind of speculating and so forth. I already did a video about that, but maybe we can take a lesson from this situation, folks, not just with pro wrestlers, but with any type of celebrity, any type of public figure, or anyone. Why do we always feel the need to know so much about someone's passing? Why do we need to ask 20 questions? Or, there's typically 2 questions. Now there's 3 questions that people ask when someone passes away. How old were they? What was it from? And now the third question is, was it COVID related? And I'm going to challenge you, if you're hearing this, to think about those questions and why do you feel the need to ask them? And I'm not judging on you, the viewer, because I ask those questions too. I think the first question we ask is, how old were they? We want to know, where do we stand? Us as the individual, the person asking, how do we stand in comparison to that person? Second question, how? If we ask the how, and somehow, if it was a car accident or if it was a disease, and somehow we can detach that from us, our own lives, we feel somehow better, or somehow impervious to whatever got them, killed them. And then the third question now is, was it COVID related? And then that's just the topic of the fucking day. Now, I feel that these questions, maybe we should ask, why are we asking these questions? Do we need to ask these questions? And going back to Brodie Lee, going back to John, Luke Harper, tonight was a celebration of his life and his career. And you even saw the big man, the guy that did the Luke Harper tribute, Warhawk, War Machine there, drawing a blank. I do these videos late at night, so sometimes I get confused, but the big man Luke there, doing a Luke Harper tribute, Warhawk, comment, correct me, I'm drawing a blank, doing a nice Luke Harper tribute. Hopefully, I'm not kidding, but hopefully Vince and his team of lawyers won't feel the need to sue, or because Jericho accidentally said Eric Rowan 2 or 3 times. Eric the Red, or Eric Redbeard, I guess he's called Eric Redbeard now on the independent scene, has Eric Redbeard signed with AEW? That wasn't clear, that wasn't apparent. If it was, would he be the new leader of Dark Order? Would he be the muscle behind Dark Order? Do they have a big man now? I guess they don't. So, I mean, I could see another mouthpiece. I mean, there was someone online, I wish I knew the name, one of the wrestling Facebook groups, who speculated that they could, it was actually a YouTube guy who said that they could put the Dark Order kind of on the shelf for a while, let them relax, and then bring them back in a couple of weeks or a couple of months with a new leader, and people are speculating, and that's just wrestling fans. I mean, I don't think it's any harm, but obviously in honor of the legacy and the teachings and the mentoring that John, did for these wrestlers, Brodie Lee, for the Dark Order wrestlers, apparently that became a shoot. That became something that he was really a mentor to these wrestlers, which is nice. And I was watching some of the behind the scenes or Being the Elite, which I don't watch that show a whole lot. But today I was inspired to watch the Brodie Lee highlights of Being the Elite, and it's comedic, it's fun. The throwing of the papers. One of the guys in the Elite was saying that Brodie initially didn't really want to do those videos because he thought that the characters were so serious. The Dark Order angle was so serious on television, on TNT. He didn't want to mess with that with comedy, but they kind of convinced him to do it, and then he got into it, and he was able to keep his character and almost make everyone else laugh. Hey, look, AEW is not going to be for everybody, and it's halfway not for me either. There's a certain millennial smugness to it. There's a certain annoying factor, or a nerd culture factor, which I don't necessarily jive with. However, I respect that they're doing something different. This is a company by the boys, for the boys, not a gender issue, for the girls too. You saw a beautiful women's tag team match tonight. Tay Conti, which I haven't seen too much of, and Anna Jay. She seemed very emotional, and rightfully so. Young woman who's, is she a rookie or a sophomore wrestler at this point? But she was very emotionally affected by all of this. Wrestling the tremendous Britt Baker, who I still think should be the AEW Women's Champion by now. And her partner, Penelope Ford, who of course is getting ready for her marriage in a few weeks. As far as that was a good tag team match. I mean, kind of, to be honest, people sometimes, some wrestling fans, not all, pine for the days of the Maria Kanellises and the Candice Michelle types of the mid-2000s, but I think you could put these 4 women looks-wise against that diva era, if that's your inclination. But they're all very talented in the ring as well. Penelope Ford is quite talented, to be honest. I mean, did they set up a Britt Baker Anna Jay feud tonight, or a Britt Baker or Anna Jay Penelope rematch of some kind, or this wedding thing? What's going to happen with that wedding? Who knows? The rest of the show had a lot of 6-man tags. I was going to finish the sentence earlier. I had initially thought that Brodie Lee's son had booked this entire show. Later in the show, it was kind of said that he had booked the main event. Either way, I'm kind of going with the fact that the kid might have had Brodie Jr. might have had a hand in these 6-man tags, which were prevalent throughout the night, and the Dark Order getting pushed left or right. This was a feel-good show, but I think in a way, professionally, these guys, John Silver was probably the star of the night from a wrestling perspective. He seemed inspired, was letting loose. A shorter guy on the shorter end of the stick, but that's okay. He was wearing his Brodie Lee Tribute tribute pants, and I thought he delivered, and I thought a lot of these people delivered. And the video and the Cody speech at the end, look, You know, I've had my statements about Cody, but I think Cody is a good company leader. He's a good speaker. He's a good role model. He did the booking where he took himself out of the world title contention. He went to this AEW title where he traded, as we know, with the late, great Brodie Lee. And I thought his speech was good. And I thought the video montage at the end was very good. And I thought that the AEW did a nice, respectful tip of the hat to WWE. And I'd like to think, and I do think, that WWE is not going to have any type of issue. And hopefully Vince is not blowing a gasket because they said Eric Rowan a few times, or because they showed pictures of Bray Wyatt on the show, or whatever the fuck. Hopefully, and I do believe that Vince and Triple H and all these other people can just, you know, leave it alone. I thought it was a good show. I mean, I texted my inner circle, so to speak, wrestling buddies here, and I said that it's probably the best recently departed wrestler tribute show ever, as far as I can recall. And what would you compare it to? What comes to mind immediately is Raw is Owen, going way back to 1999. However, that show, to me, no offense to anyone, I'm not trying to raise bad issues here, but because of the circumstances surrounding Owen's passing, it's hard to really say that that was a great show. It was an emotional show. It was a great show. It was a great show. I'll correct myself. It was a great show, but the death, the way he died in the ring was so god awful. This was different. This was different, and I think it was, in a sense, how do you say better? But I mean, it's just tough when any of these guys die young, you know. And look, I've gotten cynical. I've gotten jaded. I've had two people that I've known died from COVID, people that you haven't heard of, non-celebrities, but they are people with families and friends that miss them. So we can't get into this game of comparing things like that, but I do think tonight with the Brodie Lee Tribute was really a classy show. Tony Khan getting some heat because of a fucking tweet he put out that said I haven't slept much, I'm tired, and I've been working really hard on this Brodie Lee show, and people are giving him shit because he said the word I instead of we. Well, his opening line in that tweet was, I haven't slept much. So once someone kind of gives me that disclaimer, if you've ever been deprived of sleep and for whatever reason he felt the need to tweet, which is kind of a reflection of this generation, okay? Everyone needs that, of father approval, even a guy with a billionaire father. Everyone needs to be validated and approved. Well, he did say he was lacking sleep, and so then he fucking tweets out a bunch of stuff, and I didn't think what he wrote was that bad. He said, I'm working hard. Yes, he could have said, we're working hard. But maybe it was him. Maybe he was up in his fucking pencil at 3 a.m. Who knows? You know, sometimes I work hard on my own projects, and I want to give myself a little pampering and a little pat on my own ass. And I might fuck up, and I might say I instead of we. But don't crucify me, okay? A little side note, people are giving Ken Jennings of Jeopardy fame some shit because apparently he tweeted like this apology to cover all other fucking tweets of his whole life. Okay, Ken, we get it. You want the fucking Jeopardy hosting job, and you don't want them to bring up the fucking skeletons closet full of old tweets. Understood, Ken. And not that I care 1, 2 shits or not about Ken Jennings and Jeopardy. Just an aside. Look, folks, 2021's around the corner. This may or may not be my last video of 2020. It probably won't. I'll probably find myself doing something else. For those that are watching this right now, I say thank you. You're always welcome to share these goddamn videos and tweet them and put them on Reddit. Reddit doesn't seem to like me very much. So if any Reddit experts are out there, feel free to share these things on Reddit. But the year in wrestling, maybe I'll do a year in wrestling. Maybe I'll do a year in life, you know. Going back to the Brodie Lee thing, it's late. I haven't slept much, like Tony Khan. But Brodie fucking Lee, man, give him his credit. Give everyone who rallied around this family, around this company, the fans. Like I said, I tweeted today, I retweeted someone, a young wrestling fan tweeted, it's Wednesday, you know what that is. It's Wednesday, you know what that means. Credit to 99.99% of the wrestling internet community who's been respectful. They've been appreciative. They've been kind to the Brodie Lee memory. That other, 0.01%, fuck off. Brodie Lee deserves all the respect. I never met the guy. I did see him wrestle very close up. It was a tag team match, Dragon Gate Pro 2010, Top Rope Promotions, my old wrestling territory that I used to do commentary for with my buddy Joe Cronin. And that was before I even did anything for them. But Top Rope hosted Dragon Gate Pro USA. Look it up. A great show, really great show. And I believe I saw this odd Egyptian tag team against Aki Bono and a young Brodie Lee. Although my memory could be fucking wrong, I believe Brodie Lee was in that tag team match. So don't crucify me like Tori Amos if I'm wrong. I thought it was a good show. I enjoyed it. I think the wrestlers came to fucking wrestle, and John Silver and others. MJF had a good moment there where Brodie Lee Jr. gave him the cane. Look, some people are giving MJF shit fits because he put the fucking pink bunny suit from A Christmas Story on Christmas on the TNT network. And maybe some people give him a hard time because he took a cane shot from an 8-year-old kid. But I thought it was okay. It's a different brand of candy, folks. I'm talking about this AEW wrestling. For the hardcore wrestling fans, look, this is their thing, okay? It's not my thing, but I appreciate it that it's their thing. I feel like I'm halfway into it or I'm 2/3 the way into it. ECW was my fucking thing. But the guys that I liked in ECW, Axel, Balls, okay, John Cronus, who I did a goddamn movie with, they're not with us anymore, folks, because they took too many, not because, but it didn't help that they took too many fucking chair shots to the fucking head. I mean, I saw a match where a gentleman, Bobby Duncombe Jr., took a chair shot. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't him. It was Louis Spicoli. Took a fucking chair shot to the head in an ECW match that looked like it was attempted murder, okay? So, the guys that I liked in ECW, the guys that I considered, not my peers, but kind of my older brother types, a lot of them are gone. And I got to meet Axel, and I got to meet Balls, Mahoney. And Jerry Lynn, and Jerry's still with us, and he's working for AEW. But a lot of these wrestlers in ECW, the Pitbulls, even Doug Furnace, they're deceased. So AEW had to deal with that tonight. They had to deal with a young wrestler, 41 years old, dying before his time. The internet trolls, the goddamn reporters trying to make speculative bullshit. And they had to deal with it, and they had to come up big. They didn't have to, but they did, okay? This was not a night for storylines, but there was still some storyline advancement with Sting and Darby Allin. There was still a couple of new faces, Eric the Red, and I guess the other new face would be Brodie Lee Jr., if you want to say that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe, what if the kid doesn't want to be a wrestler when he gets older? I mean, that's just something to think about. But the kid does not have to do wrestling. He can do something else with his life. He's got his whole life to figure it out. But once again, if you got to the end of this video, please, if you enjoyed the show, go over to the AEW page, Pro Wrestling Tees, or AEW.com, AEW Wrestling, AllEliteWrestling.com. Buy a Brodie Lee T-shirt or buy some type of T-shirt to support Brodie Lee and his family. I guess they're having massive sales of shirts, and I will buy one. I believe I will buy one tomorrow. So I will buy one. I will pick one out of my liking, and I will support, in a small way, the Brodie Lee family, because I have a lot of respect. And the more I learn about this guy, and the more respect I get for him. I always liked Luke Harper. I always thought he was the workhorse of the Wyatts. And so it is sad, though, folks, I will say this, that sometimes we learn to appreciate people after they're gone. You know, and too bad it takes that at times for us to realize who we have in our lives. So if you have someone in your life that's the workhorse of your family or of your friend group, someone who always makes the phone call, someone who always puts the extra thumbs up button. I mean, I think of people on my Facebook world, you know, the Sandy Fogels of the world, my buddy there from Texas, Jay Baca, who watches these videos and shares them and retweets them. Mistress Jen, you know, she's been absent, but she's well liked and well missed when she doesn't comment. And we got some new people that watch my Blood Sugar Today's film, people that have been supporting the Impeccable. I try to support these people and say thanks. Andre Cabil there doing his pro wrestling things. This is a nice Bret Hart thing. Andre, feel free to tap in here and fucking comment and thread yourself any fucking goddamned way. Mike Messier with a tip of the fucking hat to a man that I never got the chance to meet, but I was in the same venue, the same arena with him. John, Brodie Lee, Luke Harper. And folks, don't let this tribute show be the end of it. Rejoice in his memory. Watch his matches. I've been hearing this TLC 2014 ladder match against Dolph Ziggler and Luke Harper was outstanding. The 6-man tags I referenced. The dog collar chain match against Cody. You know, you just got to pay a lot of respect to this guy. Also interesting side note, seeing Taz's son Hook do a suplex tonight on Orange Cassidy. That was a little interesting. Once again, I just pay respect to Brodie Lee. Just say, hey man, we respect this gentleman. For the fans that knew him better than I did, or for the fellow colleague wrestlers, if you happen to be catching this video, feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to say whatever you want about Brodie Lee. I'd be happy to hear more about him. And some of these other wrestlers, the John Silvers of the world, and some of these other young wrestlers, Brandon Sutter, who's got a good sense of humor. I once mentioned him in a video years ago. You know, he was doing something that I took issue with, whatever the fuck, about missing a match or something, but he's got a good sense of humor about it. So respect from me, a cynical, jaded, fucking wrestling fan of many years. Respect for me to everyone who's respected Brodie Lee and his family in this time. MikeMessier.com, Mike Messier YouTube channel. What did you think of the show? Did you enjoy it? Were you tempted to switch over to NXT at all? Or did you stick with the AEW? I stuck with AEW. Mike Messier, MikeMessier.com. Like, subscribe, share the videos, all that good crap. Put them on Reddit, put them on Twitter, put them on Facebook. Good night. Respect to Luke Harper, Brodie Lee, John. And to be honest, when I was watching that show tonight, at times I felt like this overwhelming presence of him. To be honest, I could feel like his smiling, bearded face kind of observing the ring. Not to be too weird, but I could feel that presence. So I'm sure that if you were a wrestler tonight, you felt that too. So respect to all the wrestlers who did this show. Mike Messier.